Welcome to Charting the Day, where I show you how I make money trading stock options. In this video, I'm showing how I understand candlestick strength. This is the only template you'll ever really need. This is everything all in one photo. I found this way after I learned candlestick strength, and this, if I had seen this picture, this would have been a lot easier. Now, let's get into this. I found this off of TradeNo_official on Instagram. All credit to them. I'm not sure who they are, but I'm just using this photo for the point of this video. Now, when we think of candlestick strength, this plays a lot into our candlestick pattern. So our candlestick patterns are essentially when we have normally 3 candles next to each other and what it means. So 3 candles in a row equals a story. And it tells us, are we going up? Are we going down? Are we consolidating? It basically shows us what we should be looking to see next. This is extremely important if you're trading stock options because you want to get out if your candles start to signal a reversal or they start to signal you getting flipped out of a trade, or you will know to stay in a trade if you're seeing that the story is showing it's going to continue in your direction. However, you cannot tell that story unless you know what each of those 3 candles means, and that's why we're talking about candlestick strength. So if you have 3 candles that are going to tell a story, you can only know the story if you know what the 3 candles are saying. Now, they're going to say either a bullish strength or a bearish strength. However, you could have 2 bullish candles and 1 bearish candle, or 1 bullish candle and 2 bearish, or 3 bullish and 3 bearish. That's going to all tell the difference between the story. Now, obviously, if we have 3 bullish candles, we're going up. If we have 3 bearish candles, we're going down, okay? But there are more complicated stories where you may have a bullish candle, which would be like, let's just say we have a green candle, then we have a red candle, then we have a green candle. Does that mean that we're going up just because the last one was green? Absolutely not. Does that mean that we're going down just because there was a red one in there? Absolutely not. So we have to know about the actual strains so that we don't just look at them for their colors, and we can actually look at them for what they mean. Now, of course, in the opposite way, we can have, like, let's even draw that, right? We can have 1 green, 1 green candle, 1 red candle, a green candle. We can have a red candle, then a green candle, then a red candle. We can have 2 greens, and then we can have a red. We can have 2 reds, then we can have a green. All of these some of these mean the same thing. Some of these won't mean the same thing. So you may have an instance where you'll see this first version and this means we're going up, right? Then you'll see this and this means we're going up. You'll see this and this means we're going up. And then you'll see something with these colors and you'll say it's going up. You'll ask yourself, what in the world? You may even see green, 2 reds. And that means that we're about to go up, okay? So it's, again, I'm just trying to reiterate that it's so important to know what the strength is so you can understand the actual story, because the colors don't really mean much, okay? The strength is what actually makes a difference in the story and if it's going up or down or consolidating. Now, again, this is the most easy thing to understand. The only thing that's not on this chart that I would recommend knowing is just about indecision candles. Those will look like these types of indecisions. Let me actually just draw it this way. So indecisions will be in the middle. Obviously, that means that the buyers who are buying here couldn't push up enough. The sellers who are trying to sell to the downside couldn't sell enough, and we end up here in the middle. Right? We can also have an indecision. I still call them indecisions if it's very low on one side. That's still an indecision in my opinion because it doesn't show any strength in any particular direction. So any of those 3, I still consider them, as long as there's a wick seen on both sides and it's a very skinny amount of body, I consider that to be an indecision. Now this here, because it's in the center and this is in the center, I consider these to still be indecisions, but they push up to a side more than another. So we can clearly see that there's an equal amount of wick on this side to the buyer side, and there's an equal amount of wick to the downside with the sellers. However, the candle is green, right? And again, same amount for the people who are buying, same amount for people who are selling, but it's red. So why would it even need to be red if it's in the middle? That's because when the candle was closing, it ended up that it closed here. Okay? And for this bearish one, it closed here. Same exact candle body size, same exact amount of wick, but they just close in different places, showing what the overall strength was. So if it closes to the upside in green, we know, okay, like, yes, it's equal on both sides. Here is equal on both sides, meaning that this isn't going to tell us much about where we're going, but at least we know that the people who are trying to buy are stronger in that sense. So that's what these center candles mean, as well as kind of dojis, gravestones, and dragonflies. Okay, so that's what those candles are, but those don't really determine our strength, right? Because it's kind of hard to determine your strength if you're saying that there's equal push on both sides, right? So technically, yeah, it's opening and closing to one side, but there's not enough to give enough significance of difference in the wick. Okay, so those candles are not going to be much of a determining factor as far as making big moves in the market and actually making big decisions. Now, my favorite candles, if you've watched my videos at all, you know my favorite candles are my flat bottoms. I don't know where that name came from. I just call them flat bottoms. Technically, this is a flat top and this is a flat bottom. Why? Because your candle that are red close at the bottom and your candles that are green close at the top. So this is a flat top and this is a flat bottom. I love it because it has no wick. And because it has no wick, it is extremely strong, super strong. When you see when you see a candle like this with no wick here, that means you might want to get in position for puts because, baby, we are pushing strong. We are extremely strong. We have no wick. We had no reason to go to the upside and try to find our way back down. No, we just found our way down the entire time the candle was open for I trade on the 1 minute. So for a full 60 seconds, we found our way to the downside. Same thing for this. You might want to get into some calls because for the entire 60 seconds, it was only interested in pushing to the upside, which means we have a lot of buyer momentum. Okay, and if we naturally just move ourselves down this like continuum we have here, you're gonna see they get weaker. So we explained this one already. We explained these. Okay, it's gonna check them off. The next one we're gonna explain is going to be this candle here. So this candle is the same as it's just kind of like the cousin of the one we just drew. Okay, so again, it's saying that we have the same amount of wick above and below. We can't really use this as a determining factor, right? So this is like brother, this is like sister and brother, okay? It's just like sister and brother, okay? But the reason why it's a lot smaller is simply because of the movement. So this one has more volatility than this one because the wicks are the same length, right? But the price moved way less in the candle to the right than the candle on the left. Okay, so let's just say this one moved 10 cents and this one moved 2 cents. Okay, so they both moved. They both were trying to figure out what side we want to go to, but only one of them moved more. So it has higher volatility for that one on the left, which is this one here. Okay, so we've now explained 3 out of the 6. So that's this one. Well, let me actually just do it this way so I don't confuse anyone. I'm gonna just draw a line like this. So we've explained this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Now, the next candle we're going to talk about is our strong bases or strong tops. Now, these have their own individual names. I promise you, well, actually, I can't promise you, but when you start trading, you're not really going to care about the names of them because you're just going to be looking for the patterns and the stories, not the individual candles themselves. So when I see a candle like this, that tells me that the buyers really tried. So these candles are telling me that that sellers tried their best. They tried their best to go to the upside, and they only won by a landslide. So this is showing that yes, we ended bearish, but we very well could have ended bullish. So these candles are not technically strong, okay? So if you see I believe this is called a hammer, and this one is, I think, yeah, that one's called a hammer. Oh, that's cool. What in the world? That's super cool. Is this like a... Whoa, I didn't know that existed. That's super cool. Let's see if it works with anything else. Wow, super cool. Okay. But if you see this in the market, you're going to say, ooh, I'm not about to use that as to determine to take calls because that's not strong enough for me. Same thing for this. Now, however, if we see, if you haven't noticed yet, this one and this is basically the reverse of each other. This and this is the reverse. So if we land heavier at the top, that means that we're actually bullish. If we land at the bottom, that means that we're more bearish, and we shouldn't use that as bull strength, as confirmation for bull strength. And same thing for the bottom. If we end more at the bottom, right, and we're closing low, that means that we are doing a great job. If we're closing a high on a wick, right, we don't want to use that as our strength because we could get flipped out of that trade, because this is showing that we're actually trying to push to the upside. Now, for the last candles, these ones here are showing some strength. Again, these are the same things as the one next to it. So this one and this one are like cousins. This one and this one are like cousins. These ones are like cousins. Okay. So it's showing the same exact thing. We're ending in a direction we don't want to. If we're closing low, that means that we are not having a lot of bullish movement if we're closing low, okay? So on your wick, you want to say, okay, if we're going to close this low, I hope this candle is red, okay? If we're closing that low. Or closing, if we are closing here, I hope that this candle is green. If this candle is red, that means that this is very weak bearish, and we shouldn't use that as a confirmation for anything to the upside. So that's the basic overview of candlestick strength. Really, this chart is all you need. This will get you all the way through your candlestick strength. And I definitely want to do another video on the candlestick patterns and showing you how these strengths actually play along to tell a story together.